Oh, it's good to be here with all of you. In the name of Jesus, I greet you, and blessings to all of you. Today is a little different. I'll be sharing from updates from Honduras. Just curious, how many of you have ever been to the mission base in Honduras that Christian Light Missions has? Raise your hand if you would. Just out of curiosity. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I have a good many. So this might be old hat to some of you, but we haven't had an update for quite a while. And today's update will especially target Saetas para Cristo, which is the name of the school there in El Eden. Alan Sumi is working there. He's kind of the inspiration and the brains behind that effort. And so that has changed quite a bit over the years. One of the reasons for this presentation today is also to give you opportunity to give towards that need. And I'll be sharing some of the specifics a little later as we go on. I'd like to start out, though, by just talking about a saetas. Who knows what saetas are? It's a Spanish word, obviously. Anybody? Saetas para Cristo. Any ideas what Cristo is? You're not that dumb, are you? Yes, Christ. And para is for, so saetas are arrows for Christ. And when you walk in through the gate there at Santos, you correct me if I'm wrong, right? Will you do that? Because I might be exposing my ignorance, yes. Okay, saetas para Cristo. Whatever. I try to act like I know Spanish, but I didn't think about you sitting here. Thank you. So I should actually know Spanish. We've been going to Honduras since 2000, and I do not know Spanish. I mean, few words that I know, but very little. And anyway, so arrows for Christ. And I totally love that picture. When you walk through the gate into the grounds there at the school, you see that on the side of the building. Saetas para Cristo. Arrows for Christ. And that encapsulates largely the vision of the school. And I would like to bring that home to you today, here just at the beginning, just for a thought. All of you that are raising children are forming or honing, is that a right word, for our arrows. And I think about my wife and I sometimes and the arrows that we have released from our bow. And as I look back over my life as a parent, I realize that a lot of this idea was very kind of vague and fuzzy in my mind. Ideally, when God gives you that little baby, Psalms, what is it, 127, which psalm is it that says, "Lo, children are an heritage from the Lord, the fruit of the womb is his reward." And say it with me, "Blessed is the man that has his quiver full of them." So I guess it doesn't specifically say arrows there, but the idea is that arrows are in a quiver. Today, the world looks at giving birth to children as, well, is this correct? Maybe I should ask. Almost as a curse. And children in many homes are a nuisance today. God says, "I'm giving you a gift." When he gives children to couples in marriage, he says, "I'm giving you a gift. They're my heritage." And I wish that I would have realized in a deeper way the importance of having clear vision. When God gives that gift to you as parents, to have a clear vision of what that arrow is supposed to accomplish. And that will help you actually develop and form that arrow into its intended use. And it also requires knowing what the target is. And if I have time, I'll talk a little more about this later. Why don't you stand up and we'll pray the Lord's Prayer together. I would like to especially have you focus on Thy kingdom come, thy will be done. Can we do that? So let's pray with me. Our Father, which art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom come, thy will be done, on earth as it is in heaven. Give us this day our daily bread. Forgive us our debts as we forgive our debtors. Lead us not into temptation, but deliver us from evil. For thine is the kingdom and the power and the glory forever. Amen. You may be seated. So today is information. It'll be information, but it's information that hopefully will impact the kingdom, because what we're doing in Honduras is about the kingdom of heaven. Thy kingdom come, thy will be done, and that means spreading the gospel, whether it is through school or books or whatever it might be. So I need a volunteer, one of you girls. You want to run this for me? Oh, this is a laser pointer. Who wants to do it? Kelsey, push right there. Go to that map and see if you can find Honduras for me. Do you know where Honduras is? See, the United States is the red one over there. Yep. Where's Honduras from there? It's too hard to see. You have to know it. Who knows? Any of you girls know? Courtney. Let Courtney find it with the pointer. You know which one to push? Right. This one right here. That's Mexico. Come down a little farther. Right about there is Honduras. Thank you. So most of you know this, I'm sure. I hope you do at least. Honduras is right here, and usually when we go to Honduras, we fly either from Miami, Atlanta, or Houston, stateside. And when you come back, you fly out of either San Pedro Sula or Comayagua. And so just, basic things there that you already probably know. So Christian Light Missions was started when? Does anybody know here? '90? Not quite. I mean, too early, yes. Did you say 98? Keep guessing. So it was right around the 2000 mark, because I have been on the board pretty much since day one. And I opened the checkbook for Christian Light Missions here at Bedford, and we've been working there ever since. We have made many trips to Honduras, more late in the later years than early. So Christian Light Missions was started in 2000, roughly 99, 2000, somewhere in there. Who was the founding church? Does anybody know of Christian Light Missions? Christian Light. It's Christian Light Missions, right? So Christian Light Fellowship was the founding church. We worked there very low key. Tim and Naomi Breckbill moved down by themselves into the area between Peña Blanca and El Eden, Honduras, and lived there on the base, and which is the house where Dave and Janelle are living today. So they moved there. Were living there by themselves for about 2 years, I think, till Jeremiah Martins moved down there. And slowly things progressed from there. What else? So I wanted to reference my first trip to Honduras was before I was married, which would have been about 1988 or something like that. And we went, Paul Slabaugh isn't here, but I went with Paul and some other young guys. We went to Guaymaca, which is let me just go there real quick here and show you the map. So here you have, that's my wife up there right there. And by the way, she's not here today. She's not feeling well. You can pray for her if you would. Here is the El Eden, Peña Blanca area. If you go to the next map, a little more zoomed in. So we are right here by the lake. This is a very easy place to find because of the lake. One of probably the most beautiful places in Honduras, as far as nature and geographic and even climate is nicer there than some places. So if you come down here to Tegucigalpa and then you head east, am I correct? It's been a long time. You head a little bit east, somewhere in here probably is Guaymaca. And Santos this morning mentioned it, that he's thankful for the Amish that brought the gospel to Honduras, which is exactly what happened. Don't know what year that was. You said 60s, right? Was it 68. That's the year I was born. So 1968, the Amish moved to Honduras. I don't know how long they were there. It's a story in itself. But eventually, the Mennonite Fellowship Church moved into that area in 1988. We went down for the purpose of changing the generator or prepping the electrical. The whole compound was run with generator. There was no electricity from the line. We went down to work on the wiring to prepare for the electric lines that were going to run through that area. And that was the first experience, foreign mission experience I had. First jet ride, which I'll never forget that. What else about that? So the Fellowship Church I guess they started the children's home. Were they the ones that started the children's home, or was that Amish? By the Amish. Anyway, so Santos was one of the little boys that came to the home, and the rest is history. So, and it's a very interesting history, of course. Years later, the Fellowship Church is no longer in Guaymaca. Just for your reference, there's another church in the area, which many of you would know the name Wayne Weaver, which was started by the Wayne Weaver Church. They are still there, just across the road, down the road a little bit, I think it is. And Fellowship Church is still in Honduras. They have 4 or 5, 6 posts scattered around, so they're still there, but they're not in Guaymaca. Anyways, fast forward to 2000, Tim and Naomi Breckville moved to Honduras, and we started working there in this area. The idea was to create a base here for a launch pad for other works in Honduras. And so let's go through these slides. Just a word on the political climate. I don't know how much you know about Honduras. I don't want to bore you. Honduras is a democratic country. Today influenced by socialism. Their current president, which was put in after the previous president, which he was a good president, was a Catholic, was more Christian, had more Christian ideas. The current president is a lady. She's a communist, and obviously Dave says things are going downhill since the election. It would make sense, obviously. Communism is not a good thing, young people, but if you don't know that, I think our schools hopefully are teaching that, but it's a very damaging philosophy. And, they get in by offering free things, and then other things happen. One of their partner countries had been Taiwan, I believe. They are cozying up to China, so I don't know what all that means. Hopefully it won't go too far south. But that's a little bit about the political climate. Honduras is a very friendly country. I would say that the culture is very friendly. People are very friendly. But underneath, there is a lot of darkness under the surface. One of the spiritual strongholds is drunkenness. You'll find a real problem with drunkenness in Honduras. The other one would be immorality. It's also a big spiritual stronghold. I don't know if it's worse than other places these days or not, but it's one of the things that is very prominent there. A little bit about the country of Honduras. Don't think there's anything else I wanted to say. I'll just as I think about it, I'll open it up for your questions as we go along, if you have any. I want your questions to be answered today, if I can. And if you have any as we go along, and if I don't stop, just raise your hand. More than welcome. Okay, so we'll get this out of the way and make you real good and hungry. It's about 12 o'clock, right, in our schedule, in our belly schedule. But the food, this was Janelle's offering here. Platanos there in the middle, orange juice, coffee, and then the beans over here is one of the really good foods in Honduras. You guys like beans? Kind of. Well, I don't know. I love their food there, though. So the food is no adjustment. You won't find as much beef. You'll find a lot of chicken, fish. They're by the lake there, so you'll get fish. So we'll get that one out of the way. Okay, so transportation is still like this a lot of times, right on the back of a truck. You might go 4 hours on the back of the truck. Our vehicles, we have much nicer vehicles today than we did back in 2000. And so that is nice. Or AC in the vehicles, pretty much like stateside in a lot of ways. But this is still a lot of, if you take a group of people, often this is what you'll do. I wanted to put these two slides in on behalf of Alan Summers. This is an Airbnb in Honduras. I don't know if you knew that Alans have an Airbnb. They bought a coffee farm up close to Las Vegas, Honduras. Yes, Honduras has a Las Vegas. And actually, there's quite a bit of wealth there because of the mines that are up there. They employ a lot of the people there in the mines. But this is Alan's house, and it's also a coffee farm. Now, this picture doesn't really do justice on the lay of the land, but I can't really help that. It has a tremendous view. This is what you see when you look out, and this is the lake right here. And our base would be just around this ridge over in here somewhere. So it's not real far. In fact, I should have pulled that up. It took us about 45 minutes to go 7 miles, maybe, something like that. So it's very much like this and up the mountain and so on. So if you want an Airbnb in Honduras, make sure you do this one. And it's very nice inside as well. I didn't get any of those. I have some of those, but I didn't put them on. So Dave and Janelle Godoy, you know them. Their work in Honduras. And these are our favorite people. I'll just have to say it that way. But they are working there indefinitely. We don't know when they'll be back. The little guy there in the middle, where Janelle's holding, he's the newest addition there. And they're working on the base there. Dave is doing all of the Christian Light books, mission books, airport runs. He teaches music in school. And, of course, keeps after all of the vehicle maintenance and all the property maintenance and all of that stuff around there. So he's pretty busy. Janelle, obviously, you can imagine she does the cleaning and the cooking and all of that. So yeah, we're proud of what they're doing. We really miss them here, though. This is the Grobler family from South Africa. Some of you would know them. They just had a little one as well. And they're living in Eliden, right in the little town, in a rented house. Baruch. Sorry for blocking your views. I'll try to move around so you can see. So Baruch, he manages the bookstore. He's very good at it. He enjoys books. He enjoys pricing books. He enjoys, I think, pretty much the whole thing of the bookstore there. And we'll talk about the bookstore in a little bit. And you can see they have a row of children, a row of arrows, and challenges that go with that, of course, living in a foreign country. They came, by the way, from South Africa. They moved to Honduras from South Africa. They volunteered, asked if they could come. He came to visit, and next trip, I think they moved. So they basically left everything in South Africa, are there, working there, living there indefinitely as well. Chapinos, the Gavaretti family. Chapino is an evangelist. He is a passionate evangelist. If you ever want to get to know a passionate evangelist, get to know him. He loves to preach, and he does good at it. They live there in Eliden. Noelia and Ruth and Isaac, and then Hadassah. Noelia comes from Argentina. They have a very interesting story. They met here in the States. I think one of the first times they met, I don't know if you remember this, Japino shared here one day, but he said, "You are supposed to be my wife." That was pretty much their first meeting. And it's exactly what happened, as you can see. So it was a very interesting story. He has also the book, Finding My Father. This is Chapino. And there's a very interesting story of that whole thing that happened there. Alan Summy family. How many of you know Alan Summys? Most of the people here at Christian Light know them. They've been living there. Somebody tell me, is there somebody that knows when they moved? I want to say maybe 2005, but was it later than that? It might have been quite a bit later than that. I just can't say. Does anybody? Yes? 2008. Okay, thank you. So they've been there since 2008, which is 15 years ago, and their family is obviously growing up. And yeah, I don't think that they have any plans to move that I know of. I never even asked Alan, but they're living there. It's their home, and They have a very nice house to live in now. Thanks to, I think some of you might have helped with that, but they have a very beautiful spot. And okay, I want to insert this. Prayer Team 2000, not 25. This is supposed to be 24. Sorry, I put the wrong date on there, which would be this coming first part of February. When I put the call out, I'm assuming you got it. I said first part of January. That was wrong on my part. It's first part of February. And we're looking for a few married couples that would go and walk the streets praying, and also some work projects possibly. So if you have any interest in this, it's actually very important that you know quickly, because John wants to get this organized, and he's like, I need to know fairly soon. So if you at all have an interest, even if you're just interested, contact me or John, and that way he'll know a little bit what to expect. I think that's all for that. So I just want to run through the structure real quickly. It's probably boring stuff for you, but this is Christian Light Missions. It is supported by 3 churches currently. Cleveland Believers in North Carolina, Christian Light, Pennsylvania, River of Life in Ohio. River of Life would be, if you don't know where River of Life is where Leon and Rachel are, Paul Slabos' married daughter. Flows through this just lost the word. Flows through this graph. Christian Light Missions Board of Directors, which is chairman is Micah Yoder, John Weaver's advisor, Aaron Martin is advisor, Leon Steiner is a member, James Pate is secretary, our treasurer is Brian Yoder, spiritual needs director is James Pate, and physical needs director Ivan Godoy and David Byler. David Byler is from Cleveland as well. So most of you know those names. Flows through the mission base, which is where Dave and Janelle are working. Goes to the church at Ellie Dan, goes to the school, goes to the bookstore, goes to the wood shop, goes to the clinic. Those are kind of a breakdown of what we're doing in Honduras. So, and by the way, I'll have to say this. If you have any memory of back there, Joe, you would remember, maybe John Fisher, some of you that are Mark. When we started Honduras, we did not want. Frankly or bluntly, we were probably reacting against some of the previous admins that have been in Honduras, and we wanted a very basic, low structure organization, and just give the liberty to the missionaries to work as they felt led by the Holy Spirit. As time goes on, we developed a lot of structure, and so it's a challenge. It's a challenge to keep that balance. The board here, the vision for the board here at Stateside is to be coaches for the people in Honduras. If you're working there, you feel the need for a coach. You feel the need for support, and we want to be that, but we don't want a remote-controlled mission either. So it's always been a little bit of a challenge. This is the house where Dave and Janelle live. Some of you this was a massive improvement. There where the van sits. Remember that wooden shop that was there? We tore all of that away and put a carport across the whole thing, a new carport. So it's been a massive improvement there. This is the guest house. I would invite anyone or all of you to go and visit. And I would especially, let's go back to the idea of saetas para Cristo. Your children living in the United States will not have a proper worldview if you never take them out. Your children, I'll just say it straight, your children need to go to a third world country to understand to see how would I say that? To have a proper adjusted worldview. Because we live in this society, we think this is normal. This place where we are living and life here in the United States is not normal. You got to remember that? It's not normal. It is unusual. It is very abnormal if you go by population. So I would highly recommend make that part of your honing process as you're developing these arrows that one day you'll release. When that arrow is released, will it find its mark? And what you do now when your children are small, probably maybe more when they're, a little bit older, You should take them to a third world country. And here is a prime opportunity. It is very nice here. You can eat. It's easy accessible. It's not hard to get there, and it starts giving you a taste of what a third world country looks like. Just a word in regards to that. It's very, very different today than it was in 1988. Extremely different. No cell phones. When they would go out to town to communicate back to the States, they would use a fax machine. So you had to go out to town, find a fax machine, write your letter, put it in the fax, and it would pop out here in the States. Today, it's seamless. You can almost, with your cell phone, you can almost, depending on your carrier, you can leave the States, land in Honduras, open your phone, and just start communicating. And there's Wi-Fi almost everywhere. The airports have free Wi-Fi, so it's very easy, very easy. So if you want to go, get your passport and take your children with you and show them a third world country. It is worth the money. I know it costs a lot of money, but you are creating and forming arrows that will hopefully hit the target in bringing kingdom on the earth in the future. And so the money is, unless you don't go and sponge off the missionaries, but other than that, go and experience this is the guest house. It's very nice, much nicer than when we were there. The first time we were there, I think at the guest house, the road was still dust and the boards had cracks. The siding had cracks in it and the road was dusty and just billows of dust would roll in through the cracks into the building. Today, it is a very nice house. It doesn't have AC in it, but it's very nice. Okay, so we're going to the library. This is one of the things we're doing in Honduras. This is a picture of the library. Here's where Baruch works, pretty much from 8 to 5, I think it is, 4 days a week. And then we have somebody else that comes in at the end of the week that works there. And there is thousands and thousands of Bibles that go out of this place. I'm just amazed. It was probably roughly sales that go out of this place monthly or somewhere around the average of $20,000 worth. I think it's close to 99% Bibles. We can't really sell much else. There's some study books, but Bibles. And so we'll do 2 or 3 orders in a year of around $100,000 worth of Bibles. So that is a very worthy work. Those are the kind of things that you really don't know till eternity. You really won't see what all effect it has, but they do go very well. Here's a picture on the inside of the bookstore. Almost all of those on this wall are Bibles, different styles, all kinds of Bibles. So different price ranges, and so on. Just another picture showing the interest in Bibles. I already told you that. So let's see. Let's go to the clinic. I don't have much on the clinic. The clinic is currently being run. You know what? Did I miss? Let me see if I have. Okay, yes. This family is Ezra's. And I don't know what I forget their last name, or I don't know. Maybe you know. Do you know, Santos, what their last name is? Yeah. So they've been working at the clinic and have been doing an excellent job in managing the clinic, just overseeing it. They live right there. There's 2 houses, and this clinic building. Well, this is a new house that we just built. There's 2 houses and the clinic on that property, and so they're working there. Clinic is not quite as critical as it used to be when we started, because there's much more aid coming into Honduras, and it's going out via buses and medical buses, I should say, and so on. So you have a lot of aid coming in. It's not quite as critical. It's still a good thing back there. And this is like 4 hours back in the mountains. The climate there is cold, colder, I should say, but it can actually get quite cold, and it's a high elevation down towards San Salvador. And if it's rainy and cool, it can be quite miserable up there. Okay, nothing else on the clinic. So here is the wood shop. This wood shop was built for the purpose of teaching working to young people. It is not happening. We don't have anybody to run this book, or this wood shop. So it's sitting there. It gets used some, but it's an opportunity waiting for somebody. It could be a young man, could be a family that would go to Honduras, live there, and teach these young men, young boys that may be coming out of school or whatever, wherever, to learn the trade of making furniture and working with wood. There's nice tools in there. We have good tools. So it's just is a vision there, but it's not really happening currently. This is a sobering thing right here. These are, if you can see it, these are AR-15 bullet holes on top of the door at the wood shop. So this doesn't happen much, but what happened here, there's a speed bump right outside our gate there at the bookstore. All of the traffic basically comes to a stop, goes over the speed bump, and one night, I think it was dark. Dave heard the shooting, and I don't know what they did, but it was right there, and it shook them up pretty good. It went out later and found the shells laying in the ditch, casings laying in the ditch. AR-15 shells. There's about 9 shots, and there was a guy that was across the road, apparently sitting in the trees or in the bushes, and when this pickup, I think it was a pickup, came and stopped at the speed bump, he was trying to kill the driver. Well, I say driver, I think so. And believe it or not, he got away. And it's amazing. I mean, 9 shots from an AR-15 is pretty deadly. But he got away, and he's now in the States. He skipped to the States. We don't know what the story is. I was asking questions. Dave said, you don't ask questions. You don't want to know. You're much better off just not knowing, because when you know information, you can become a target. So that tells you a little bit of the evil that is under the surface. When there's a thief in the community, it is not unusual for the community to just eliminate him. They'll just kill him. You can't really trust the cops. They have cops, they have police there, but you don't know who they're in cahoots with. So it's a kind of not exactly a pretty picture, but this is not. And you also have family feuds. A few years ago, we were down there, and we came up to a roadblock, and here the neighboring gang or family had got on the bus and dragged, I think it was four people off, and just shot them in cold blood right there beside the road. And so that's some of the stuff that happens in Honduras. So it's still very redneck in that regard. But when we go to Honduras, you're cautious. You're better off not driving nights. You want to stay out of certain places, especially during the night. But you don't worry. We know who we are, and we don't worry about what's around us particularly. You're vigilant and careful. But anyways, that's what that's about. So here we go. Here we go to the school. I am taking more time than maybe what I should have. But can you interpret that for us? Is it Center of Education? Is that what that is? That's what I thought. And then Arrows for Christ. Say it again for us. Yeah. Arrows of Christ. Yes. In El Eden, Honduras. So I want to go through some of the stuff for the school. Today we have 84 students. Max capacity is they're shooting for 100, and so all new students come through kindergarten. I think when they started the school, they might have taken some in from different grade levels, but soon discovered it's much better to bring everyone through kindergarten and build a school that way. It just works much better that way. So 12 students per grade is the maximum we can handle. 1 to 9 grades currently. Alan has a vision for high school, which I think would be great. I don't know how that will work out. The curriculum is largely CLE curriculum. And what else? We have 11 teachers, 4 U.S. and 7 national teachers. And let's see, do I have this here? This is one of the things that I'm really excited about is two of our current teachers are school graduates. I was really hoping that would happen. As these children come out of school, they become the school's teachers, hopefully. That's the case. We have some national teachers from the community there, and then we have 4 from the States. And it's been a challenge to have teachers. Now, since we have these national teachers, that helps a lot. But to get teachers from the States has been a challenge, and we do currently need a teacher for 2024. So if you know of somebody that is interested, and you don't have to know Spanish. It's a plus, but you don't have to. You would be teaching 8th to 9th graders, I think, and by that time they'll know English. So this is what you see when you come up. Let's see, the mission base is down here about a half a mile. Up this way is the lake, and then in this way, this goes into the town of El Eden. So right here on the corner is the property where the church and the school and all of that is. I just pulled this picture from 2014. This was our first school building back in 2014. I thought that was interesting. So today, this is what you see when you come up to the gate. They keep the gate locked just because of safety for the children. Here some time ago, there was somebody hanging around there that they were very suspicious was watching for a chance. So you walk in, this is what you see. Down here this is a school building on this end, and Alan's office right here. And right here is the church. And then this is a restroom area. The school buildings run down this way by the property line. Here is the church. I want to ask a question. This is the church on the school. You see the school buildings back here, a little school building over here, and then this is the church. How many of you know what used to be here where the church was? I was thinking about that again this morning. We have a couple hands. Was there anyone that was on that prayer team from here? Joseph and Lori? Wow. Who else? So we had a youth prayer team that went to Honduras. One of the things that they prayed specifically was for the bar that sat right here where this church is. So there was a new bar open up, and if I have this right, I'm pretty sure that's how it was. They prayed specifically that bar would turn to a church. Well, today that's a reality, and very spot. In fact, they basically let the building there. It was a very, very basic building, and then just built off of that. So today, where there was drunkenness and everything that goes with it, is now a church house where God is praised and worshiped. That's a very inspiring story to me. Here's a picture of the school and the teachers, and it's obviously, you probably can't really make out faces, but it's quite a group. Here's a picture of inside of one of the schoolrooms. Another one. This is actually Marcus Kaufman from Montana, which would be Jason Kaufman's son. He is going to be going back home at the end of the school term, and whoever would go would take his place. So another picture of the school grounds and schoolroom, school teacher. And of course, they have, as you can see, must have had a marshmallow race of some kind with spoons in their mouth and marshmallows. A little more on the curriculum. Bible class. They do have Bible class. It's CLE Bible curriculum. This one really excites me. A 4-year rotating Bible memory program across the entire school with the goal of our students learning 400 verses by graduation. That is, to me, is very powerful. When those verses go into the minds of these children, that's where they are in their memory, and God will use those verses later in their lives without a shadow of a doubt. So that is thrilling to me to see that. Okay, I'm going to go to some video clips. Sound room, if you could turn my sound on. I'll try to make sure I have this setting. Just show you a little bit. Let's see, where is my sound? Well, let me, here we go. Still don't have any sound. I am on number 5. Number 5, I believe it is. Yeah. make sure I have my settings here. Realtek speakers. I should be on the right place. You ready? Tell me when you're ready for me to try it. Maybe you know what? I'm sorry. I got my, I had my volume off. Yes. Okay, it's playing. Lots of energy in this place. And lots of action, obviously, and hopefully lots of influence for the kingdom. Watch the little guy right here. I got the biggest kick out of this. I don't know how I happened to catch it. I don't even know why he was doing what he was doing. Keep an eye on him. He was very bad about something. You probably can't hear it, but she was apparently teaching numbers. And she's teaching in Spanish. Sorry, we don't have better voice.
Se escribe quitan G y Q, o sea que usamos la Q y para que tengamos el sonido de la Q vamos a escribirle una U.
Okay, that's the end for that. I'm going to, while we're at it, I'll go ahead and play this one. So Dave is teaching music, and this is actually quite unusual for Honduras, right? To teach students to sing in 4-part harmony and learning the foundation of music and so on, especially outside of the Mennonite influence. So he's doing a really good job. The quality isn't just really great here, but you'll be able to at least get a picture for it. And it is, believe it or not, they're singing Bambela or Bambala. How do you say that? You ready?
Bambelela, 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 bamba, 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 oh, bamba, bambelela.
The hum you hear in the back sometimes is cars on the bambelela,
bambelela, bamba, 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 oh, bamba, bambelela. Siso bambelela, 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 bambelela. Bambelela, bambelela, bamba, 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 oh, bamba, bambelela, siso bambelela, 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 bamba, 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 oh, bamba, bambelela. You must never give up, never give up, never give up, never give up. Never give up, never give up, never, 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 no.
You missed the tail end. If you, we'll just let it. Let's see here. Go back here to our slideshow. See, slideshow from current slide. So that really thrills me when I see that. You could actually go to they have a YouTube channel with more of their songs on there. So if you have any interest at all, see what they're doing there with the children in music. It, to me, is just a really powerful tool that will definitely affect the future generations. There's no doubt about it. So, and to get those words, that music into their minds and into their hearts, hopefully, will, bring glory to God. Okay, so teacher need, the salary is out of this world. So if you if you get the drift, you might not get paid much in lempiras in Honduras or dollars, but your salary is out of this world. So let us know if you know of anyone or anyone here today that would be interested. Here is now the new addition to the school that we're talking about. The bottom is a classroom, top is library. The projected cost is $35,000, and we have a 30-person team. I think they're from Georgia, going in December for work projects. So we're lining up a bunch of work for these young people, and this will be one of them. Obviously, they'll also be working back at the clinic and forget where else. 30 people is a lot, but this will go right here. The gate that you saw when you come up to the school is right here. The road runs right here. Gate, you come through the gate and you see the buildings. You see the sign there on the end. It will be tucked right in here against the property line at the end of the existing school building. So that's one of the main reasons for this presentation, is to show you that the vision for the school is to work together with Christian families in the education of children, specifically here in Honduras, in order to prepare them to have an impact on their communities for God's glory. And saetas para Cristo, arrows for Christ. That is the idea of this project. And if you know anything about missions and worldwide, there is a need for laborers. Jesus even said when he was here, he was talking to his disciples, he said, look out there. There are, and I thought of that when this wheat field was out here. The field is white to harvest. But what did he say next? The laborers are few. And this is always a challenge. Working in God's kingdom is the lack of laborers. So hopefully you're doing things that are for the kingdom. Hopefully this past week you took the challenge that I spoke about last Sunday in being filled with the Spirit so that you can promote and build the kingdom of God here on the earth. Get rid of the idea that you're here to build an empire, an earthly empire. But take in the idea that what can I do for the kingdom of heaven here on the earth? Whether it's Honduras, Indonesia, Africa, it doesn't matter. You are here, if you're a follower of Jesus, you are here to build his kingdom. And I personally am very excited to be able to work in God's kingdom. Who goes out hunting these days? We have a few. And I don't do bow hunting, even though I have a compound bow and I have a recurve in my basement. I might try to hit a deer, but I don't know if I'd hit it. And that just tells you, correct me if I'm wrong, but bow hunters spend hours and hours drawing that arrow back, aiming to the target, and letting it go in hopes of hitting the bullseye. So that when you go out into the forest, go out into the field, out into the woods, you see that target, which in this case will be a nice 10-point buck, and you pull that back and you let that arrow go, and it goes right through his lungs or his heart or some vital area. That is the kind of thing that we should be doing spiritually. God put in your possession, parents, a quiver full of arrows. And you are developing the skill, you're developing the arrows, and one day you'll let that arrow go, and that arrow will go somewhere. The question is, will it go to the target? And in order for it to hit the target, you have to know what the target is, right? You have to know what the target is. You have to know what you're shooting at. God didn't just put these children in your laps and then one day you'll let them go and you just shoot out into space and hope that it hits something. No, it's not how it's supposed to work. You are responsible to develop. And how does that happen? Can I just take a few minutes to go through a couple things? First of all, arrows are designed for impact. Every person in this building today is meant to create an impact. Every person, from the oldest to the youngest, God, when He looks at this group of people, He sees potential for impact. Generally speaking, we don't, impact is a negative term. When you impact something, it's negative. In this case, it's positive when it's the target, the designated target. So arrows are for impact. And you only have one opportunity. As you hone and form that arrow, when you let it go, it is gone. You cannot bring it back and redo it. So you must identify the target. What are you raising your children for? Are you raising them for money makers so that you can have more money, more things? Or are you truly raising them because you believe in the kingdom of heaven on the earth and you are aiming for children that will go out and reproduce fruit for the kingdom? I'd just like to honor some people here. Joe Kaufman, Joe Breckbill, I'm picking on the older men, John Fisher, Bruce Martin, who else am I missing? You have left, Thelma's back there, you have given birth to children, you have developed them, they have went out, Santos, they have went out and they have created an impact for God's glory. And I want to bless that and honor that. I know our children aren't perfect and maybe they're not all doing what we think they should be doing. But this church is different or is what it is because of many of the choices that you have made. And so I don't want to puff you up, but I want to really bless you and affirm what God has done through your children and is still doing today through your children and hopefully will keep doing. So may that continue. May that continue to be part of Christian Light Fellowship. You know, today you buy your arrows in the store, but if you were to go out into the woods and you had to make an arrow, you would look for a straight branch, right? But you probably can't find one that's straight enough. You have to take your carving knife and you have to make that arrow. You have to balance it. You have to make it straight. And I don't know what all else you do. You put a guide on the back, put a point on the front of it, and you spend time, hours and hours and hours developing this arrow. And finally, when the opportune time comes, you pull that back and you let it go towards the target, and hopefully it will hit the target. That's the idea. So you form them straight, you form them true. And let me see what we have next. Every word, action and word affects these arrows as they go. I don't know what the word is, but it is incredible what one word, one phrase in a young person's life, in their youth, in their childhood, can do for their eternal purpose, both negative and positive. You will find, this may be the case for you, or I don't know if it's the case for me, but it might be for somebody here today. When you think back, you think of a word that your father or your mother, your pastor, somebody that you looked up to said, either in appreciation or in negativity, and you have never forgotten that word. In fact, that word has become a compass in your life. As you go through life, you think about that word and it affects your decisions. This is so important. It is unbelievably important. As words and actions come out of your life, they affect these arrows that are being formed for the kingdom of heaven. One word or tone can completely change the course of a life. This is, I don't know how to emphasize it more. The best way to form arrows is to go the way before them. As you exemplify this process, you are actually creating straight arrows in the lives of your children. And this is a challenge in us as parents as we go through life. What influence is coming out of me? How am I affecting these arrows? I think that is it. So let me just open it up. If you have any questions, feel free. Maybe we could have a microphone. If there's no questions, we'll have a song and take the offering. Yes, Elam.
Are they from all fairly local there, or do they come from a fair distance?
I don't know that for sure, but it's not too far away. Most of them are local. Some of them are from the church as well. And yeah, so most of them, parents will bring them to school, so it can't be too far away. So yeah, that's about all I know about that. The other thing, I don't know if I had it up there on the screen or not. You might be wondering about cost, like how does this work in Honduras? So tuition is about 50% of the cost. So 50% is subsidized. 50% of the cost for putting a student through school is subsidized by Christian Light Missions. So the tuition covers about 50%. And it's a little difficult, especially some of these parents are rich people. I will also say there is, I don't know how big a school you could have, but there is a lot of interest. A lot of people want to send their children to this school. It's a bilingual school. I didn't mention that. So you'll know Spanish and English when you leave there. Knowing English is a huge plus these days. It helps you get a job, helps you, get a good paying job, and so on. And it's a good environment. Mark has something.
You answered one of the questions, and that was the tuition. My other question was, what has been the response from the parents sending their children?
From what I know, it is very positive. They love the school. They love the privilege to have their children go there to school. And they're very involved. Like, for instance, they'll be doing I should have got a little more detail on this, but they will also be doing a fundraiser in Honduras. And I think they maybe just had it. They'll raise some money. It's a little harder for them to do there than here, but we want them to own the school. We don't want the idea that the Americans are coming in and they're just, money grows on trees, and so they're just doing everything for us. We really don't want to do that. We want them to own the school, and they are very involved, and it seems that would be the mindset, I would say. Yes. Anything else?
Next question I had is the fruit of the school. How long has the school been going? I did see some fruit, and that is
yes.
Those that are graduating, they become teachers, which is good.
How long? I don't know how long the school has been. Let me think a little bit. So Alan worked, when they moved, they worked at Christian Light at the base. They were there for quite a few years, 5+ years, I would say. So they moved in, let's say, was it 18? No. Yeah. 8, 13. Yeah, it's probably 10, getting close to 10 years, I would say. I'm not exactly sure. I mean, it was small when it started, and now it's grown a lot. So.
Very good. Thanks for the presentation, James.
Anyone else? Behind you, Aunt Tony Santos.
I think it would be proper to say this, that can be a blessing to us. And there's two things that are very unique about Honduras. There is one of the few countries in the world up to this point to where abortion, if I'm saying it right, it's illegal, 100%. There's no way out. You cannot go to any clinic and we'll do it legally. So that can be a blessing. Another thing is that the Constitution said that you have to teach Bible in school. Not religion, but Bible.
Wow.
So there's no police that will come to any school in Honduras saying, hey, you have to shut down that Bible teaching. So that's a plus.
Yes.
And that's one thing that the parents in this school appreciate is Bible.
Yes.
Because a lot of them are Christians and they're willing to sacrifice. They pay extra, but they're willing to do it.
Good. Thank you, Santos. I appreciate that. Excellent. Yes, and that is the Bible part is very true. They're very open. If you want to take a team to go into schools, even I'm not sure if you can't go in there and speak at some of the schools, possibly. But it reminds me of yesterday I went to the Gideon's Pastor's Appreciation dinner, and they had a man there that was telling the story about a trip to Indonesia. And just kind of the same way they're very open. They distributed 160,000 Bibles in like a week or so, I forget. But believe it or not, in the one school they were using, so they distributed Bibles with Indonesian on one side and English on the other. So they were using the Bible as their textbook to teach English. I mean, how much better does it get? I was thrilled when I heard that. Using the Bible as your textbook to learn English. I love it. Anything else? Yes, Johnny up here.
Yeah, I didn't know. Do you at all have a breakdown of the budget? Is some of the money been raised already? Where the budget's at with the 35,000?
Yes.
Maybe we give everyone a perspective.
I
today,
can give you.
knowing how to give.
Yes, I can give you some perspective. Do you want me to say how much money? We already send a bunch of money from Christian Light, but we're hoping to make up some of it. So we had a matching donor up to 10K. And so Christian Light sent a transfer of 16,000. So we have 16,000 on the ground, and we need 35. So, and then there was another 2,500 that came in from a private donor. So we have a good amount to get started, but there's more needed. The other thing, just for your information, it does take a lot of money to run this organization. It's roughly 10K per month that we go through, 10K US. So I want to thank the church here for your generous giving. Many of you have given towards that, I'm sure, and thank you for that. God will bless you, and I just encourage you to, keep pouring into, like the clinic, for instance. I call it a black hole. You can pour as much in there as you want, but it's not a black hole in the sense that it's pouring into the kingdom, and so that's why we do what we do. Does that answer your question?
Yeah,
Yeah.
I thought maybe everyone would have more.
Yes. Yeah. Yep. Well, we would need for sure 9K. So 10, 16, no, 26 plus. We have almost 20, so we would need. Wait a minute. Help me out. We have 10. We have 16, that's 26. We have 28. We have almost 30. We're getting close to 30. We have lots of potential here. Questions? Thank you very much. I did not ask anybody to have a song. Do you have something you want to play for us, Joe? And then you can pass the baskets. We're closing. Actually, just open it up briefly for anything else. You have somebody said something about sharing at the end of the service. So if you have something you want to share, feel free. Edify the body. I'll give you a minute. You that hungry? Got to go home and get that food. Very good. Well, thank you very much. Thank you for that song, Joe. That was great. I thought first you were singing His Truth Goes Marching On. It was a good song for the nations. So why don't you stand for a closing prayer? Thank you, Lord, for the privilege to be a part of your kingdom here on this earth. I pray you'll put passion and excitement into our hearts as we think about what you are doing on the planet, especially when we see all of the mass confusion, chaos, trauma, pain, sorrow, grief, spiritual darkness. Thank you, Lord, for the provision through the blood of Jesus and the cross that still stands today to set us free and to help us walk in victory over sin and darkness. And I pray you'll inspire each one of us this week to walk in your anointing and use our time, our money, our opportunities, and all of the things that we have to bring up a praise and a worship to you, for you are worthy. Bless each one of us as we go from here. We trust you. We look to you.